Hey Michigan State fans, it's Jacob Katsunika here back for another episode of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. This is the episode for September 12th, 2025. Michigan State and Youngstown State are set to square off tomorrow, given when this podcast is about to come out. And it seems fitting now that we should make some predictions, try to gauge how this game is going to go. Again, pretty interesting as far as these Power 4 FCS games go. This is on the more interesting side of things. Again, first, one of the general predictions off the bat is I don't think Youngstown State is the type of FCS team that you just kind of stroll into your home stadium against and win by 70 points against in your sleep. Like, this is a quality team from the FCS level, the 1AA level, however you want to call it. They're ranked 25th in the FCS coaches poll after having a real nice win against Robert Morris last week. Again, Michigan State's not Robert Morris, but this Youngstown State's a proud program. You might remember Jim Tressel, who was a real good coach at Ohio State. He came from there. Mark D'Antonio coached there at a time. It's a proud FCS team. They didn't have a great year last year, but they seem to really be back in a big way. So again, for a couple of reasons, I think that they're going to hang around this game for a little bit, maybe not the whole way through. I ultimately think Michigan State's going to win this game semi-comfortably, but I think Michigan State, like the way they play, it's going to be a little tough for Michigan State. Again, they're coming off of an emotional high, might be a bit of an emotional hangover after a big win against Boston College. I don't think they're going to overlook them per se, but when you beat Boston College in double overtime and then you see Youngstown State on the schedule, it's like the FCS label is going to be in your brain at least a little bit. As much as you're going to respect your opponent, but it's still not, that level of an opponent as Boston College. So maybe it's just kind of with Big Ten play on the horizon, or night game at USC coming up, a night game against USC coming up. Like, it's just kind of tough to be able to bring that same energy that you just brought for a revenge game against a Power 4 opponent 1 week earlier. So for that reason, I think, for those reasons, I think Youngstown State is in this game to start. I don't know if they'll take a lead, but I think you might see Michigan State's defense really has to make that adjustment between the two quarterbacks. They just went up against Dylan Lonergan. He's just a pure pocket passer. You don't really see him take off. Just stood back in the pocket, usually had time, and let it rip. That's not what Youngstown State's quarterback, Bo Brungard, does. He leads the FCS in rushing yards. This isn't for quarterbacks. This is for every single FCS player. He's number one, running backs, quarterbacks. Through only 2 games, 409 yards and 6 scores. Again, had about 260, 250-something rushing yards last week. He's probably the most unique quarterback that Michigan State's going to play all season just from his pure running ability. Michigan State's offense, again, they're probably going to really want to try to see how much of the line of scrimmage they can control. They want to see some separation on the offensive line. That's exactly what Smith said he wanted from his offensive linemen. But that's going to be tough. Like, they have a good front seven in Youngstown State. They have the third best rush defense at the FCS level through, again, limited sample size, but they've only allowed 52 yards per game. This isn't a team you can expect Mekhi Frazier to just get 7 yards untouched every single time he gets the ball. Like, they're going to have to work, whoever the 5 people are in at that moment, they're going to have to work to be able to get some push on the offensive line. Second quarter, I think, is when you probably see them get some control. You probably see them figure out that defense a little bit, put their brains together, figure out how to stop Brungard. I think that's when you kind of start to see Michigan State pull away a little bit. You see that distinction between the Power 4 level and the FCS level. And Michigan State made a couple of players that were transplants from the FCS level. Connor Moore and Caleb Carter both on the offensive line, and Caleb Carter specifically said it's just faster up here. People are faster, so you might see Childs let some stuff rip to Nick Marsh, Amari Kelly, McCray, even Rodney Bullard, perhaps. Like, you're just going to see Michigan State try to use its speed and get in. You want to get them into space because you just have more skill than they do. You're playing into their game a little bit if you just keep running it and trying to out-physical them. No, you're faster than them. You're more skilled than them. So go use that to your advantage. So, simple as that. And ultimately, they're probably going to have a large enough lead in the fourth quarter where I really think that they can probably put in some backups. They were able to put in some backup. They were able to put in Alessio Milivojevic against Western Michigan, only threw the pick 6. Again, so I really do think that they're going to, obviously you want to have a big lead every single time, but they would really like to be in that position where, one, they can get Aiden Childs some rest and not risk him getting hurt going into a USC game. Again, you never want to get anyone hurt, but when you're playing an FCS opponent, whenever the second they think they have it in the bag, you're probably going to see Alessio come into the game. John Boyer said after him it'd be Leo Hannon, and then Rylan Jesse, 3 and 4 on the quarterback depth chart. But again, I think the big key is trying to get Alessio Milivojevic's confidence up a little bit. Like they all talk highly of him. Again, we've only seen 2 passes of him in games. They've both been picks, so obviously it's tough to really know what kind of quality he is when that's all he's shown from it. But everyone seems to be talking highly of him coming out of the building. What type of quarterback he is. He's the number 2 for a reason behind Childs. So again, I would really like to see some game action from him, even if it's against an FCS team, a quality FCS team, but still an FCS team. Just try to see him make a couple of passes, give him a couple easy reads, a couple short passes, some drag routes, stuff like that. But I think MSU is going to be able to do that. The big key to doing that is converting in the red zone. They've been pretty good at that lately. That was one of the key differences in that game against Boston College. The team was able to get a couple of stops in the red zone, keep Boston College to 3. And when Michigan State was penalty-free inside the 20 or in the high red, 35, 30-yard line, they were able to get into the end zone. It was those penalties, a couple holding calls that really kept Michigan State from adding on more points in the scoreboard during that time. I mean, they were able to stay penalty-free during overtime and double overtime. That's a big reason they were able to pull out that win against Boston College. Again, if I had to put a score on it, I don't know I don't think we're going to be looking at a complete shellacking, like a lot of people might be hoping for, playing against a weaker team from the FCS level. I don't think you're going to see 52-0. I don't think you're going to see 60-0, and none of these ridiculous scores. I put down 38-14. Again, I still think you're going to see some pretty good fight from Youngstown State, especially in that first quarter. Again, this is their Super Bowl. This is their biggest opportunity this season. At least maybe they make the playoffs, and obviously that's the playoffs for them at the FCS level, where they have a real big expanded playoff. But this is their big chance. It's a bye. Michigan State's paying them some money to go play, and they think they're going to go get a nice win. At least that's what the administrative level is going to be thinking. But Youngstown's telling Youngstown State that they want to come in and be able to get this opportunity against a Power 4 opponent. They're going to have it circled on the schedule. I mean, it's the toughest game for them for their season. So it's a big chance for these FCS programs to put themselves on the map. I mean, I don't know if you see App State, they're a quality G5 program now. Are they there if they don't do what they did in 2007 in the Big House? I mean, again, it's those things. These are these opportunities for these programs to build themselves up. So State's already a pretty well built up FCS program, couple of national titles there. They made the playoffs a handful of years ago, but you can't underestimate these teams. Like they want it. They want it bad. And again, all indications from Michigan State seem to show they're getting the proper amount of respect. You haven't seen guys in press conferences be like, "Oh yeah, when we go to USC next week." No, it's all about Youngstown State, and then more Youngstown State. So I have no worries probably about an upset alert here, but I do think that Youngstown State's a good enough team that they're going to come out of the gates firing, but I just don't know if they're really going to have just the firepower and the speed and just the overall skill to match up with Michigan State's skill groups. Again, Michigan State has 2 running backs that have been fantastic so far against Western Michigan and Boston College. Mekhi Frazier, he's been running. He was really good in that Western Michigan game. Tolis is averaging about 5 or 6 yards a carry, I think, maybe 7. But then again, you have the wide receiver group, Nick Marsh, Shamari Kelly, McCray. I just don't see an FCS team being able to just keep up with everything Michigan State has on the offensive end. So, I mean, that's kind of how I get to 38-14. You're going to see a good fight from this team. I think you'll see Michigan State probably lay off put on the brakes a little bit late third quarter, and then you see them just kind of cruise in that fourth quarter with Alessio Milivojevich or some other backups in the game. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'm Jacob Katzanika. Let me know what you guys think and what your predictions are for this game. What do you think the final score is going to be? I'll be back with another podcast on the field after the game. You can see the background behind me. I'll be actually there after the game. But that's all I have for now. I'll see you guys around next time.